Good evening, everybody. I'm hoping that my audio and my video is working fine.
That's all right, my end.
Oh, yes. I had a big problem over the weekend, obviously. So say a couple of hellos to people online before I do a few sharing, and then we'll introduce Kyle onto the screen. Kyle, as we call him. So Davey, hi, how are you doing? Sam Pritchard, Nita Barron, Helena Evans, Lee Allmark, Noreen Hill, and Phillips Lancaster. Those of you who are watching in the groups, if you can see at the top in the description of the live stream, if you see where it says to accept the StreamYard itself, you need to click on the link, please. Some people are showing us Facebook user in the chat. As a result, we can't see who you are. So if anybody who is somebody's just said, for example, all okay, guys, hi Charlene, if you can pop to the link in the top, please, and click on that and accept it, we'll then be able to see who you are. Hi Pamela Rogers, hi Jack Davis, hi Ingrid. If everybody could like and share it out, please start your watch parties. I'm just going to start sharing out to groups myself.
I can't put on my phone.
That's fine.
I can't on here. So anyone share to my group, please. You'd help me. Yeah, hope everyone is well.
It's been a good day today, with exception of messing around with my computer, obviously. Where are we? Can't even find your group. There it is. There we go. One last share very quickly to somebody specific. There we go. Right. So, hello to everybody else who's coming on. Paul Brenton, Drew, hi, how are you? Stephen Harris. I'm just going to click the link at the bottom and get that into onto the pinned at the bottom, and I'm going to introduce Kyle. So. Oh, I'm looking at. Do you know what? I'm just thinking to myself, how is it that we're live now and I can't see what we're doing? And it turns out that yes, we're live, but I was looking at the live from yesterday. I was thinking to myself, what on earth is going on? Right. So I'm just going to introduce Kyle and say hello, so he can introduce himself as well. So Kyle, how are you?
Oh, doing just wonderful. How about yourself?
All good, my friend. All good. Some good news today, but keeping a little hush hush from everybody on the chat at the moment, just to before I've got an agreement to look at first before I sort of bring it out into the open as such, you know. So, and Charlene, yourself, how are you as well? You all right?
I'm all right, thank you. Hope you guys are.
Oh yes, Mick Day, hello. How you doing? Pamela Roger, thank you for sharing. Drew's going to probably pop on in a minute. Whoever this is that's just said Facebook user, can you see me? No, I can't at the minute. So Cherry Willman, thanks for sharing. Stephen Harris, how are you? So as I said before, if anybody is interested in coming on and having a chat with Kyle, then I can't call you Coyote. Do you know what I mean?
You can't call me that.
No, it's so hard. I've got so used to calling you Kyle.
I'll call you Coyote.
When I'm on the radio, everybody calls me Coyote.
That's it. That's it.
Except for my guests, I can't understand that.
Rob Skull, how are you, my friend? Paul Brenton, Dan, how much to make a custom hoodie? Well, I'd have to have a little look, see what you wanted on it first, Paul. So message me and we'll see what we can do. If I can suggest a better way for you, that's better priced, I will. So anyway, just a reminder for anybody who is watching in the group, if you are watching in the group, please go to the link at the top in the description, and that link will allow you then to be seen properly in the chat. As at the moment, some people are showing up as Facebook user. So tonight, when we're streaming not only to Facebook, we're also streaming to my page on Facebook. We're streaming to the new live streams worldwide page, also to my YouTube channel, and also to Twitter via Periscope. So we've got 4 different platforms we're streaming on at the moment. Sam Harley Wilmore, how are you? So, Coyote.
Yes.
Yes. So you got it then. I'm still trying to find this link showing up on my stream so I can click it at the bottom so if anyone wants to come on. So I'll let you introduce yourself and tell everybody about yourself, and we'll then go from there.
Well, first, may I say, May the 4th be with you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
To say, when you look for me on Facebook and on my podcast, I am known as Coyote Knight. I've been paranormal investigator for several years now, but kind of stepped away from it a little bit, more into the podcasting now. And we just started our own network, by the way.
Awesome.
And since Daryl's trying to steal you away, you should join my network instead. Okay.
Oh no! So your network that you're setting up at the moment, then is it fully running, or is it?
We are up and running. Still looking for talent. We have about 7 shows on there right now.
Wow.
Most of it you'll see from myself and my buddy Ben, who's part of Central Utah Paranormal. They're, as I said, out of Utah, and then we have a lady in California known as Psychic Jen. She does a show about once a month, and
so is that podcasting, or is that very much like this, streaming like this?
Actually, what most of us do is we pre-record. Trying to get people to be on at a certain time every week has gotten to be almost impossible. I mean, I did it for a year, but it's not the easiest thing in the world. So I'd have better chance of getting more people on. We decided to go with the pre-record.
Awesome. Cool. So, right, we have somebody just in the background in the studio at the moment who wants to come and say hello. You probably guess who it is.
Must be my buddy Drew.
Hey!
What's up?
Charlene, if you don't,
What's up, my brother?
you've probably seen Drew, obviously, on some of my other lives that I've done. If you don't know much about Drew, with the link between Drew, Coyote, and myself, basically, Drew's little boy Loki, his middle names is Kyle and Dan.
Yes.
So that's the link between us all. So
I'm the other one out then.
That's it,
So we don't know which one.
What we're gonna do?
We don't know which one of the names is going to get him in the worst trouble.
That's it. So, how you doing, Drew? You all right?
I'm doing okay. I got loads of bloody lives to do today. Excuse my way of saying it, but loads. I'm literally going on tonight with a lot of someone else's stream yard later on. I thought I'd come and pop in and say hi to my buddy Kyle from Texas. Coyote.
Yeah. That's my brother from another country.
That's the one.
So I know, literally, have fun on here tonight, Kyle. Trust me, these guys are amazing. A lot of people on here, man. Seriously, I've vouched for every one of them. And the audience are brilliant. And the lady up in the corner with blonde hair, I known her channel for a long time. When I started up Paranormal Postmortem, she's absolutely amazing.
A long time. And she's still friends with you.
That's
who can't blame them? Look at me, for God's sake. It's okay. Can I tell Kyle on here why we got people watching, what the plan is for John and Six Sense quickly?
Go for it, mate. Go for it.
So basically, to give you an update, John, and everyone. So me and John has been speaking together, and Phil, and the plan is we're going to be doing a stand up on the stage. Basically, I don't know how they call it now, but basically John's on the tour. He's really big in the UK as well, and because I done a spiritual reading on Dan Litchfield's show, which was amazing. I gotta admit, I can't wait to do more. Dan's been guiding me in many ways. And I just want to say a big thank you to Dan and Phil, John's Sixth Sense family, because now me and John and Phil, including you, Cody, being in my life, everything is coming in place as well. Everything. So my life has absolutely changed. I'm so busy. But John is planning to take me on tour with them and Phil. So I thought I may as well give every one of you guys a massive big shout out on Dan's live page, because Dan is actually standing by the side of me all the way through to make sure where I should be right now as a clairvoyant. And I'm
the one that's giving him a kick up the butt when he needs it, you know.
And he needs it a lot, right?
He does a lot, yeah. He's got it's quite a wide butt that needs kicking half the time, you know. So he needs a big shoe to kick it. So yeah. Speaking of which, John Harris just jumped into the chat. Hello, John. How are you? So thanks for sharing, my friend. So
John's amazing, absolutely amazing guy. I was wondering if Chantal will have. Is it Chantal?
Charlene.
I got it right. Just Charlene. I was wondering one day if we can have a little chit chat one day, and do a ghost hunt if that's okay. I'll meet up because I got a lovely spiritual person coming to me at the moment, so I really, really need to give that to you as well, because I already picked up you're a really sensitive lady, and it's a lovely lady right behind you. So I thought I'd let you know about that. Dan, I'm gonna go now because I got to already have this bit of pain. But guys, don't check out Into the Pit.
You got me to 500 time. You gotta let Kyle have a bit of time on the show.
Oh no, I'm gonna let him have all the same, man. I'm let you off now. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone and to Kyle as well. See you later, my cowboy. I'll give you a ring tonight with Logie. Okay.
All right.
Cheers, dude.
Love you, brother.
Cheers,
bye.
Bye. Oh, he's definitely one. He's a good lad.
He is.
He's one of my favorite people. That's the thing. So well pleased for him. So obviously, Kyle, you've not met Charlene before. I'll let Charlene fill you in on who she is, what she does, so you could get an understanding of her side of things with it. And obviously, I filled you in on my side of it on your little show last week. So
right.
Over to you, Charlene.
So basically, I'm a investigator researcher for my group, which is Paranormal Hauntings. I vlog, video content, live content, any content, I'll do it. Don't know, Dad.
That's it, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. So
I do a lot of writing. I do a lot of research. That part does interest me. So you do see a lot of content in the terms of blogs and things from me. Try to do weekly streams and content. I also have dabs in urban exploring. So quite varied in what I do. I work a lot with.
Yeah, is look for Bigfoot.
Yeah, well, how do you know that?
Wow.
Come on to the States. We'll take you on a trip to go find them.
I'll tell you what, I once went into a Bigfoot group to have a look into the Bigfoot theory. And I was quite impressed with how many theories there is on Bigfoot and how many people report seeing Bigfoot over here in the UK. Did you know that, Dan?
I didn't actually, no.
Because over here is sort of a more spiritual being.
I thought you was going to tell me that it was Drew.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. he's got feet that big.
But, no, never actually done any Bigfoot investigation, but I have looked into many theories and stuff because I thought, how can Bigfoot be over here? And there's an explanation for it. Interesting.
Certainly is. It's something that I've not really dabbled in that side of things myself, but certainly is interesting and something I'd be interested in looking into. If So, Kyle, basically, I know that you've had time with, if I remember rightly, it's with the Ghost Hunters team, or was it the Ghost Adventures team?
It was Ghost Hunters, actually.
Ghost Hunters, yeah. So, in your time with them and throughout your everything you've done with the paranormal, including now, What sort of thing? Is there anything that, equipment wise, that really frustrates you, really gets up your nose?
Oh man. Well, I'll tell you what, I've only got to investigate with them once, and that was some years ago, but I do talk to them on a regular basis. Well, the guys on the new show. I'll say there's a lot of equipment out there that is almost a repeat of stuff that's already been made, but it's got like a new twist to it. And I love the SLS as far as helping, but it's kind of frustrating to me that you have this piece of equipment that anything could end up making this thing go off, so you could get some false evidence. And I know a lot of people love it. I have one, but we honestly don't use it that much anymore. Just for that.
I think a lot of people like it when they first maybe get it, or if they see it on screen, because they don't look into what possibly could be causing it, or they don't realise what may be possibly causing things that giving a false positive, if you like.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they see it and they automatically think, wow, there's a statue at the door, but because it is generally always at a door that something will appear, or a chair leg, a chair arm. It's always going to be around an object of some sort, and then it kind of maps something out next to it. Okay. So if you're first using that and you don't realise that is a possible cause, then you're probably going to be like, wow. But then when you start looking into it more, you think, it starts making you realise that it's not what you first thought.
That's it. They can give like a false positive on something, can't they? Massively, It is one of those things where, I say it all the time to people that, with that, so I got John Harris putting things on wrong John. There we go. Dan, you got a bogey hanging out your nose, buddy. Just a minute ago, he put up saying that I got my flies running down, and my answer to that was, I'm not wearing anything on the bottom half of me.
There you go. I'm not wearing any pants. How could it be down?
That's it. See, the difference there, though, Kyle, is that pants over here means a different thing to what it means for you. So when you say pants, you mean trousers, whereas when we say pants, that's underwear for us.
Okay. All right, no pants or trousers. How's that?
So yeah, going back to the SLS. So basically, for me, it's I look at it. Say again.
You guys ever caught anything in the middle of the room when nothing has either been around it? Just
long back. Yeah, one thing that wasn't far off the middle of the room. But
we've done that once.
Yeah, but to me, when I look back at it, I could say it could have been something else, because the problem with it is it depends on the depth of it, because of the situation, because the Kinect camera doesn't have depth sensors properly in it, you see. So it's got minimal, the depth sensors aren't there. I use a different one. I use an Azus Action, and it's made for robotics. So I noticed that one from watching the Gadget Show over here, where they made a couple of fighting robots. I bought one of them. They were about 180 quid to buy. And I use a different software as well. So I don't use the Kinect software. I use one called Fast, and it works differently. So it's got depth and it's got sound and everything on it that you can record. So for my setup has a slightly further reach than the Kinect stuff does. But to me, I can sit there now and look at it and say, well, it's a possibility that what I got may have been something off to the side of the window where it was. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But what about you, Kyle?
Well,
was yours around anything?
Now, we've had one incident where it was not actually in a doorway or by any kind of furniture or anything. I will say that one thing that I do like about ours is that we have like the thermal cam on it as well. Now, I have caught something in a chair, and the reason why I knew it wasn't the chair itself is because when we asked it to wave, it actually picked up its arm and waved at us. So
that is more convincing that it's something more.
That is, yeah. That's
Yeah.
good. I mean, is your one got the small circular camera, has it, or is it a Kinect camera?
It's got a Kinect camera to it.
Right, okay. Because the initial one, the proper original SLS that were set up, they have the little circular one, and that does heat and everything, ambient temperature, the lot, which is really good.
It's good if you got the money for it.
Yes, that is it. If I think it works out somewhere around about $1,200 or something like that. If that, maybe $1,500, something like that. It was.
Oh yeah.
To buy the original, and they make them to order, so they don't even. It's not like you can just jump on a website and buy it straight off. So, well, moving on from the SLS camera, then. I mean, is there anything do you find, obviously, when you worked with the Ghost Hunters lads, the guys, I should say, when you've worked with them in the past, was there any bits of equipment that you really didn't like that they had, or with the exception of things like, I know they don't use the SLS and things, but
no, I can't say there was anything that they had that I didn't like. I think they were a little critical of the things that we had picked up, because they send everything to experts to get checked out. But I mean, the camera and the digital recorder, those seem to be like my favorites, because how do you dispute it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, the digital recorder, it's easily can be faked, so you can't really present that as evidence. And people do all the time, but to me, it's just too easy to fake. So how do you say that it's for real?
Yeah.
You might not use these techniques, but over in the UK, cat balls are a massive thing. Have you used any cat balls before?
No, I try to leave my cat's balls alone. You'll have to explain that one to me.
Well, basically what they are is they're like little cat toy balls, and you tap them or they move them, and they're like flash. Okay, so the idea is that you ask spirit to touch the little balls, and they go off. Yeah.
Okay.
See, my gripe
you've got to
with
talk
them,
about something, Kyle, and you just got to kind of keep a straight face, because you're talking.
I'm trying to.
I had to mention the cat balls, didn't I? The flashing cat balls.
You got to remember, I like shows like South Park and things like that. So when you say stuff like that, it's going to be very hard for me not to crack up.
No. Comment from Julie Sankey says, Coyote, you need flashing balls.
Everyone needs flashing balls.
Maybe I'll have some lights installed in there then.
That's it. Prosthetics. There you go. Flashing prosthetics.
Like they'd have on the shoes when you're walking and they go off. I'll do the same thing. And
that's it. Well, basically what they are is plastic, a small round plastic balls, clear. They've got a red button on them. You press the red button, and then when they're moved, they flash. The idea is they stimulate the cat, and the cat chases it, and so.
Well, I found some flaws within them while using them. So if you put, if you're using ITC or like a really loud device next to it, they will trigger the balls off if they're next to it. And you can normally tell, because if a word generator goes, the ball will go.
Yeah.
okay.
And there's a pattern there. And also it'll sometimes pick up on like traffic, vibration from traffic if it's on windowsills or something like that. So they don't seem that sensitive, but sometimes they are. It's really strange, because you literally set them off yourself. You have to bang it.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes you can rackle things and whatnot and it not go off. But then other times you can debunk it by it being, like I say, traffic vibration. So they're quite varied when they're set off, to be fair.
I mean, I'm assuming, Kyle, with yours, when you're out investigating, you'll probably you use the standards like your voice recorder, your camcorder, your EMF meters, bits and other bits and pieces like that. Yeah.
Oh yes, definitely.
I mean, these are just like little trigger toys, if you
That's
like.
really good. Yeah.
Now, One thing that we use that a lot of the ghost hunters from the show don't like is the REM pod.
Yeah.
Me myself, I've put this in the center of the room and I've jumped up and down trying to make this thing go off, and it hasn't done anything. And then all of a sudden you start asking questions and here it is going off. Now, I don't know. To me, it works. Some people may disagree.
Because I know that they're quite sensitive things, aren't they? You know, the actual REM. I mean, I've got one made by Infrareddy, and that's not as sensitive, I don't think, as the original REM.
Right.
And
Right.
it don't really go off a lot, to be honest. That one don't.
Yes.
Mine's
ours doesn't really go off that often, and I mean, you have to get like really close to it to make this thing go off. And I mean, we've sat there and had a conversation with what we believe to be an entity in the room, and all of a sudden this thing starts going off, but then it sounds like Morse code. Well, my first instinct is, the batteries are going bad, so we put new batteries in it, and the thing starts doing it again, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And it stopped. It didn't do it anymore. Well, then I got out my phone and I found an app that you can type in a question or a sentence, whatever, and it will play back in beeps and stuff the Morse code. And we did this a couple of times, and all of a sudden this thing started talking back to it. So I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, certainly one. I mean, that's usually the I think that's the ambient temperature setting on it, where that beep comes from. But it's one of the frustrating part of the ATDD section. I can never remember what it actually stands for, but when because obviously when it's set in itself, you have to then press the button to make it so it's set, and it then stops going, and then it goes off again. And those temperature changes, temperature fluctuations do tend to make it go off quite quick, and a lot of the time. And there's too many people. I think too many people do instantly think that is paranormal, but where it's actually just temperature changes a lot of the time, or even could just be down to a setting. I know that when it starts going off quite a lot, usually there's a setting in the REM pod. It's a bit of coding in there that makes it so that it goes off regularly for battery drain. But just very quickly, going to go back to the chat very quickly. Mandy Bell, comments are showing up, don't worry. But I know that Facebook are having some issues with some comments in chat. Stephen Harris says hi to Coyote. John Williams also says hello as well. Rachel Cross, hi. Where are we? Robin Pratt, lovely to see you. Claire Beale, thank you for coming on. Irene Takura, all the way from Japan. The lovely Irene says, hi, howdy, Coyote.
Hi, Irene.
Hello.
So, yes, if anybody's got any questions that they want to ask Coyote himself, then please pop a message in the bottom. Jasmine Maduro's just popped on to say hi, everyone. Hi, Dan. Hi, Charlene. Hi, Coyote.
Hi.
There we go. John Williams. Do any of you use ion meters, Geiger counters, or barometric meters?
Oh, I can't say that we do.
I've contemplated a Geiger counter. You can pick one up on Amazon for about £50 here. So it's a handheld one. Not much bigger than some of the EMF meters, but I've contemplated it, but didn't get around to buying it in the end.
It's all right using them kind of equipment, but you've really got to dig deep to have a look at what would be considered as being paranormal. You've got to know the scopes, because I was looking at illumination. I can't remember what the device is called. So you go to a location, and you can go over 5 days at the same time of day, where there's been reports of an apparition or something, and see what the illumination is like during that time, and if it changes over the 5 days. But for me to do that, I need to look into further what the average and what the normal illumination is to establish that. Yeah. Because this is the talk that spirits using light to form in and stuff. So it sounds a really, really good theory, but I need to get my head round.
When you're using that kind of equipment, you really need to have experience with it.
You do. You really need to know what you're doing, basically, and what you are looking for.
Don't just take it out of the box and think that you're an expert at it.
That's it. It's the same with every bit of equipment, isn't it? Really, even down to the basic.
Something like that, I think, is a bit more complicated because it's more, it's measuring and comparing and thinking, okay, this is normal, but this isn't, and it's the after going out and looking what is what. I think
definitely
is the. Yeah, so you
just very quickly, not sure who this is who's just saying hi to Mandy. As you're flagging up as Facebook user, what that means is, because I think you noticed before you just said, can you see me? If you can, in the top, in the title, in the description for the live stream, you should see it says to use StreamYard, please authorize the app. So just click on it, authorize it, and then we'll be able to see who you are then. Only for some reason in Facebook groups it does it, not in for some reason it's not doing it on these. I don't know why, no clue at all. It's a bit of a strange one. When it on pages it seems to work but without a problem, but on groups it doesn't. No idea why. But yeah, going back to equipment, I mean, even down to things like K2 meters and things like this, understanding what the other equipment can do to that equipment. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the biggest problems that a lot of people don't have, is that they don't take into account is the simple fact that your K2 meter or other EMF meters, each type of EMF meter works within a different band of the electromagnetic fields. And a lot of people don't tend to realize that even just a mini speaker, or it's not just your phone that messes with it, but a mini speaker or your walkie-talkie or anything else like that,
it's like the flare camera. Okay, the flare camera is absolutely brilliant and I love it, but sometimes a slight temperature increase can be red, and it can only be by 1 degree sometimes, which I've noticed before on something. And then I've thought, there's a temperature difference. So then I took a picture of it. And then, because you can analyze flare, because I've got the software, so you can tell the different temperature difference between, what it is in one area and what it is in another area after you've come back. And on this one particular time, there was only like a 1 degree increase in temperature, but it turned red. So really, when you was looking at it like that, it wasn't really that much of a difference. But to look at it physically, it looked like a significant difference because the colours showing that difference to be quite severe.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people actually check, instead of looking at the colours, how many people actually check the temperature between the areas.
Yeah. Definitely.
If that makes sense, because I've not got the phone one, I've got the actual handheld one that you thingy over. So mine gives me all the ranges and everything.
I'll be honest with you. Anything that you download on the phone, I don't trust it. I don't care.
Well, I've got the actual device.
Yeah.
Actual play device.
Yeah, I was just saying. I think a lot of those apps are just there to take your money.
Yeah,
there is that. I mean, with the FLIR side of things, I mean, the camera that they set, that you obviously buy and it plugs into the bottom of the phone. I mean, it overrides the standard camera on the phone, but you are technically still running a phone app, and the limitations of that app is what it's there for. And it potentially only gives you a basic readout in comparison to the better quality FLIRs or other thermal cameras there are. I mean, obviously, if you want a really good high quality thermal camera picture, you need to be spending thousands of pounds or thousands of dollars on a proper full scale one, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Just quick one. I know who it is who's coming up as Facebook. Ivan. Yes, it's all trustful, mate. It's all fine. It's not going to do anything. It just allows StreamYard to see your name on Facebook. That's all, and then we see you properly in chat. So, question from Ivan. He's the one popping up as Facebook user. He says, do you find using electronic resources, you lose your ability to use your own senses?
Ooh, good question. I think sometimes that when you use electronic equipment, that you kind of let your guard down. I guess that would be the proper way of saying it. You don't rely as much on what you're actually looking at because you get so excited about what's going on, with whatever piece of equipment you have. So, unless you're just you trained yourself to pay more attention to your surroundings, I think you can get lost in the equipment.
That's it. I mean, me personally, I focus solely on the equipment because a lot of the time, because I don't tend to class myself in any way sensitive or anything like that, I mean, I don't know about yourself, Charlene, but
I like to mix the two.
Yeah.
I like to mix the two. Sometimes me and the team will not live stream. We'll just go to a location. We just want a night to ourselves, if you like, for personal experience. And we went, one typical example is an hospital in Lincoln that we did. And we didn't put no equipment down. We just had a walk through. I took a bit of footage and we did catch something on there. But a lot of that was just calling out and getting responses in the terms of hearing footsteps, hearing bangs. That was a lot more physical there. So we didn't need no equipment. And the overall feeling of something being where it was and then having things happen on command. I mean, one of our team members that night actually had to go and check around the building because she thought somebody was messing about with us. It was that physical. No one was there. Nobody was there. But it just, the contact was very much on demand. And like I said, didn't need equipment for that. What we was getting was enough in itself. And we had a really, really good night. And so in them circumstances and using our senses, we had a better night than using some of the gadgets. But sometimes I like to use the gadgets to back up what we might be getting if we're picking up. So we kind of vary ours in a way.
I got an interesting question from Don here. Do you believe some ghost hunters actually freak themselves out before they even get to the site they're investigating by listening to other stories about the site?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I try to go in with as limited stories from the customer as possible or the client. We do a lot of research before we go in there, but at the same time, when you automatically go, oh man, I'm looking just for this particular thing to happen because they said this happens, they said that happened. Yeah, you have to have some knowledge of the place before you go in there. But at the same time, like you say, you can already have yourself thinking, oh, this is what this is, and this is what this is. We did a building several months ago, and the story was that you would hear something walking across the floor or chairs rolling across the floor, and that you would hear a lady's voice and all these things. And so, yeah, we were looking for that. But with one thing I can say, my wife, she grounds me quite a bit. And she'll tell me, hey, you got to find out what the logical explanations for these things are before we get too excited. And we'll go in, we heard what sounded like rolling across the floor. And before we just jumped up and said, oh my God, there it is, there it is, there it is. We got to looking around and found out that they had an old fax machine that it resets itself at a certain time at night. Right. And it makes this rolling sound across it. And it sounds like something's rolling across the floor. And the voices that supposedly they hear, there's a bar just not even a block down the street. And the people come out of the bar and they've been drinking, they're loud and obnoxious. And that's what we think you hear.
Awesome.
I think also if they read stories, they go in with an idea that they're going to get chairs flying around, they're going to get that kind of activity that is being said is there. And I think if you are new in this field or you are going on to an investigation, go expecting the least, then anything more is good.
Exactly.
And that would be my advice, because you can never, it would be a shame to go on an investigation or a ghost hunt and go there with really high expectations of experiencing something and then not. So go with an open mind, but go expecting nothing. And then if you do experience something, then fantastic.
I think the biggest problem I find, I think before I'm just going to then jump to the chat and then bring Tony on. She was sitting in the background. I think what I find with people is that where they don't potentially keep as open a mind as they should do with regards to the equipment and things, especially Ouija boards, etc. You tend to find that people tend to, because they're automatically thinking that everything they get in or on the Ouija board or potentially on the equipment is paranormal, that's how they freak themselves out, rather than necessarily the backstory of the premises as such. Do you know what I mean? Some people are very much, I think there's different scales of believers. You go from non-believers and skeptics right through to a complete utter believer who's like over the top, everything's paranormal. And when you get people who are moving into that scale, that end of the scale, you tend to find that because they believe every single little bit of bleep on a K2 meter or movement on a Ouija board is spirit, they tend to at that point freak themselves out from there, if that makes sense.
Do you think that's because they haven't looked at the other possibilities of what it could be, though?
That's what I mean, yeah.
Because I can remember when I first went to an event and I was just given a K2 and it was like, oh, if this flashes, it's spirit. That's what at this time I didn't have a clue what a K2 were.
Yeah.
Never seen one in my life. So I thought, oh my God, it's going up to red all the time. My phone's in flight mode as they've advised me to. It's got to be a ghost. Do you know what I mean? Until I've gone on a few more and with different teams, I've actually thought, okay, this isn't just picking up spirits as I was first told. This is picking up a field, electromagnetic field, not ghosts. But this is what I was told on my first investigation. Here's this device. Goes to red, go flashes, it's a ghost, so you can't blame people for
I don't know what you how's it over there in that respect then, Kyle, because like obviously here events groups are quite popular. There's lots of different events groups and a lot of people have different thoughts about the way they go about doing these events and things, Yeah,
well, I can tell you this, I have actually found wiring problems in houses because of the meters. Exposed wires. Yeah, exposed wires could have started a fire.
Yeah.
And but as far as the events go, if you're talking about like getting groups of people to go to these investigations, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
This is when I first started out. This is how I got into it, by doing events, you see.
Yeah, it can be fun. I'll be honest with you. I don't really like the big events because it's really hard to do an investigation when you got a whole bunch of people around.
Well, I think the best way to put it, they kind of fall, no disrespect to people who run events and things, but they to a degree they fall into an entertainment category, don't they? Exactly. I mean, they are like a lead into the paranormal for some people, but they do to a degree fall into because you are there to entertain people, really, aren't you? So.
It can be fun. I mean, the history of wherever you're going to, if you pay attention to that and just the camaraderie, people getting together and talking, that's awesome. But if you're trying to do an investigation, I don't like those things at all. You'll never get a good EVP because people are talking constantly.
Exactly.
You don't know if somebody has turned their phone on while you got your K2 meter out and it's, set off your device. Those kinds of things. If you happen to see something visually, great. But
different color. So I got Tony.
Well, this is why I went off into private investigating, because it got to the point where it wasn't enough for me anymore what they was doing. I
Yeah.
needed more proof for me. So then went off privately. But I just think a lot of people may start their journey in this field like myself.
Yeah.
You know, being curious, thinking, okay, let's have a look for a ghost hunt, see what we get, booking onto that event and going from there.
That's it. Noreen Hill's just put on here. There's too much contamination in big groups.
Mhm.
That's the biggest problem. If your venue is big enough to be able to go there, where there's a larger number of you, and you're able to split off into groups, that's 9 times out of 10 what mine does. Don't worry.
Cat balls.
Oh,
That's, hey, just Kyle, double check, make sure they're not flashing.
oh no.
Yeah, that's. I think, you know, for if for me, if you obviously if you're in a big enough a number of you, say 8-10 of you, because the venue's big enough to do it, fine. But as long as the venue's big enough that you're not going to contaminate each other's, audio or video or anything, you know, then different kettle of fish. I'm just going to bring Tony on the screen a minute. And hello, Tony.
Hello, guys.
How you doing?
Hi,
I'm
Tony.
all right. Hey, Shelley.
Tony,
Hiya.
Tony's a mod on the page, but she's also mods for Drew as well. She's basically does like a admin assistant thing for Drew, so she keeps him in check.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, I would just come on and thought I'd ask, what kind of equipment would you actually like use? Because you know it's 100% right.
That it's 100% right. The only thing I can
Unless
say,
yourself, obviously.
well, if I could afford it, I'd get one of those new cameras that they've been showing on Ghost Hunters.
Oh yes,
We heard about him.
Daryl was just telling us about that on Saturday. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
That is amazing. If you haven't seen it, go
No,
try to find it.
they've
'cause
not aired over here yet, those episodes, you see. So was
You
that
you want my password to our live stream? I mean, our streaming channels.
do you know what? That would be amazing. The issue I had with my computer yesterday was because I started pulling them off the internet, and I somehow something messed up. So
Well, you're not meant to do that, Dan.
no, I know.
That's why you got a virus then, Dan.
I got a bug of some sorts into the computer. Yeah, so sorted all that out. So
the only thing I can say that is really that's affordable that out of my equipment that's really accurate would be the cameras, the video cameras, and the night vision cameras. And the reason why I say not a still camera, because the what do they call that where you see faces and things?
pareidolia.
Yeah, pareidolia. Yeah, I mean it's too easy to make something out of nothing when it comes to just a plain picture. But when you got a video camera and you're actually seeing things moving, like a shadow or whatever moving, that's, I mean, how do you dispute it? Gosh, my dowsing rods, and people may disagree with me on that, but dowsing rods I think are very accurate as long as you're not just walking around with them. When you're walking around with them, you can pick up like plumbing and wiring and things like that. If you can stand still in one spot with your dowsing rods and you ask a question of the spirits and say, hey, can you move it for yes or no, or I don't know, and you're staying perfectly still, those things move on their own. You can't.
Yeah, because then you can't be accused of actually moving it yourself.
Exactly.
The thing with dowsing rods is, I don't know, Kyle, if what type you've got, but I've always found that if you've got just a normal wire one, which is just in an L shape, there's a risk of of the possibility of involuntary movement in your hands causing it, isn't there?
Yeah. We had handles on ours.
Yeah. Some people take the inside out of a biro pen, and you put the metal down into that and hold on to the actual plastic of the biro, and then that works as a good handle, because then the rods themselves freely move. They can freely move. So
you have to understand too, I've I've worked over 20 something years in the water department, and we used them to find water lines and sewer lines and things like that. So I know what I'm doing when I have those things. So
yeah. That's the great thing about it, mate, because if when you've got that background there, that's the great thing about it, where you can at least you're putting that knowledge and that side of it to it as well, but you're using something which is, I don't know whether would you class dowsing rods as scientific or metaphysical? Which side of it would you class them as, really?
Man, well, I mean, they've been using them for centuries, and
Exactly.
they work. So I mean, you could say metaphysical, but I think it's more scientific because there is basis behind it. When you have energy flowing, then that's what sets them off. It's like when it's going through a water line. You have static electricity. You have that motion, and that's what sets those things off. The same thing with electrical wiring, or even gas and sewer, all those things, there's movement to it. So that's why those things move. It's the energy. So it's got to be scientific. I mean,
Mandy Bell brings up a good point, though, in that respect, because I don't think any equipment can be 100% personally. If it's tallies, its spirit box, etc., can help everything.
I was just about to say that, Manda.
I think that's the thing.
There's always something you can find. That's right.
Everything we do is all theory based, is it not? Isn't it? So it's none of it can ever be 100%.
I think experiencing something just to myself and being 100% on it, I could say. If I was using a camera and picked up a shadow, I'd still be debating who may have been moving around me, if a car had gone past.
True.
I'd still be debating the environment if I picked that up. So it still wouldn't be 100% on that.
Yeah,
you're right.
Haven't you got to look for the scientific reasons before you look for the actual reasons itself?
Yes. Not necessarily scientific reasons, but any other possibilities that it could be before you claim it to be paranormal.
Yeah.
And I think the problem, I don't know if you agree with this, Chloe, is that if you, no matter what, there's probably a list as long as your arm with regards to things the things that could explain what's what, and as a result, it's saying something is paranormal is one in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon, you're going to get something that you can actually say that with 100%. That you are 100% certain to you is that. Do you know what I mean?
Other equipment, I think, can always kind of be explained. But like, for instance, I went and investigated Oxford Castle, and I'm walking on the stairs at Oxford Castle, and I hear an hello come from a few steps below in a London accent. Now, there's only me and my mum on them stairs, and it was like a loud whisper, okay? And I looked at my mum, and my mum turned around to me, and as she did, I got a in my hair, right? Now, I'm 100% that was paranormal because I heard it with my own ears. My mum heard it previous. She heard it say it to me. So somebody was there to back that up for me. So for me, what I experience, like something like that, is 100% to me. I don't. There is possible explanations that something could be in the air and it could sound like a wind or something, but no, it was twice. It was a London accent. We was in Oxford, and so to me, that was 100% for me. Because I'd experienced it personally.
If you've got that type of thing happen, that's that voice phenomena you're getting and that personal experience of yours. I mean, no matter what, it's a personal experience, so it's always gonna, if you hear something with your, or you see something, and you specifically hear or see it, it's always going to be 100% to you, no matter what. Whereas other people are going to also then sit there and go, well, actually, we didn't hear it, but then at that time you've got somebody who backed you up on it because your mum heard it as well. So that's you know, in an ideal world, investigating anyway, you would have had a camera or a voice recorder with you playing at the time, and then hoped that it had been caught on that as well.
Because there was no phenomena on them stairs. We was just walking from one room to the next, and the stairway was so tight.
Yeah.
You know, so we wasn't filming because we didn't think
exactly
we needed to at that point.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, you know,
Kyle, you can probably agree with this on I think there's some issues with, there's some instances where you can sit there and say, you know, when you're looking at the big issue of it all, like whether your K2 goes off or your Ouija board moves, you can't necessarily say those things are 100% accurate. Whereas your personal experience to you is going to be 100% paranormal, because it's not normal for you to hear or feel or see or something like that, is it? Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. We did an investigation in a storage facility, and I went down a hallway by myself, and so I know nobody is down there with me, and I hear a voice in my ear going, "Hey," and even the people down the hallway heard it. And there's nobody in this building. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's in the building except for us. And there's not even that many of us there. And so personal experience, I can tell you 100% if it's real or not. But, you know, there's skeptics out there. It's going to say, oh, it's this, or it's this, or it's this. But you know what? I like the skeptics because it makes us work that much harder.
That's it.
To make them believe as well.
Exactly. I mean, Charlene, with your experience, your experience is different to most personal experiences because you had your mum with you as well, and she heard it as well. So
yeah, so I had a backup, because obviously I think when you experience something, you logically try to go through the motions in your head, don't you, as an investigator? So you start thinking to yourself, okay, could it be this? No. Could it be this? No. And you start going through the layers yourself, don't you?
That's it.
And then when there's nothing left.
Well, you know, even as
go on.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you know, even as a kid, I would hear these certain voices at weird times, and I would just chalk it up as, oh, it's just in my head. I didn't really hear it, not realizing that I had a sensitivity to these things.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I'm sorry.
I think we all do at that point, though, don't we? Because you go, especially when you go into a new venue, which is, you know, is well known for activity or anything like that. Even if it's a new venue to you and you don't necessarily know the history of the place, to a degree, you've got you know that there's activity there because, you know, a lot of people go there, things like that. So instantly you go in with, you know, you go in and you naturally got a slight defense up on things, and you know, you're a bit more open to hearing or seeing things potentially, you know. But that's when, obviously, like with Charlene's instance, when she got her mum heard it as well. That's a different story because it's not just you and your singular personal experience at that point, you know. And then you kick yourself afterwards because your voice recorder's not on or your camera's not on, you know. So
skeptics, they're gonna find some kind of explanation, even if there is none.
That's it.
I know what a skeptic would say. A skeptic would say that it was nothing more than sound traveling.
Yeah.
Of course they
and
will.
that's what they'd say.
Could the walls be sending the sound from another part of the building through to or another room through to where you were at the time, things like that.
But to me, that explanation of what I experienced doesn't match up with what I experienced. So to me, I'm 100% it was something more. But, you know, unless somebody experiences that themselves and a skeptic experiences that themselves.
That's the thing, though, isn't it, Charlene? Where people are saying, are sitting there. I think where you can sort of simply answer to that is where a lot of people, you know, they think that something is paranormal, and actually they haven't looked at any other reasons behind it. Whereas when you sit there and have that instance like you did, you can sit there and safely say to you, it's paranormal because you've got no other way of explaining it. Possible.
And I know what the extreme explanation is. But it don't cut it with me because of what I experienced. So
That's it.
Tony, yeah.
Have you on, lovely?
Well, I was just going to say, I had a similar type of thing to you, Charlene, where obviously I was with my mum. I'd obviously gone round to my mum's friends, and it was come back home at stupid o'clock in the morning, and we'd actually saw a dark figure in his window on the inside, and there were no windows open, no nothing. There was no one in the house to explain that there were a figure in his window. And then as soon as we got in the house, there was no one there. No figure in the window, no nothing. It was just like, well, what the hell were going on? Yeah.
And to you, is that 100% you feel it's paranormal?
Yeah, because there's been things happening in my mum's house. Yeah. So it's like, we know for a fact it'd have been like something paranormal. Yeah. And obviously, because we've got a pure white cat. Well, I've got now because I've moved. But we kept seeing my other cat that obviously sadly passed away. And I thought it was my cat that's actually living.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
No.
So it's obvious I've had some encounters of spirits and stuff in my mum's house. That's been unexplained.
Yeah.
So it's a shame that obviously I didn't get it on camera, but...
Yeah.
I think it always happens like that, though, doesn't it? In a way. Some of the best.
Yeah, it's so annoying when you know for a fact you've seen it, but it's like, why didn't I get it on camera?
Yeah. Because you're not expecting it, are you?
No.
That's the thing. You're not expecting to come out. You come home from a night out and have a shadow at your window.
No.
Well, you're not going to have a camera going because you're not expecting the shadow to be there. So it's just one of them things. And I think ghosts might be a bit camera shy now and again. We always seem to judge them, don't we?
Tony, thanks very much for coming on, lovely. But we're running a bit short on time.
Yes, all right, Dan.
A few questions for Coyote in the chat. So we'll catch up with you soon, Tony. All right?
Yeah, you will do. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you, Tony.
See you later,
bye.
Elaine Farrell was popped up with a question. She asks, Dan, can you ask, does Coyote believe that the energy from water does amplify spirit energy?
Oh yeah, definitely. Anytime you have energy, then these entities are using that energy to build up their own. And water movement, look, we power electricity with water.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. I suppose that's one of the other things that a lot of people don't necessarily look at is what the surroundings of the place are, do they? As well as what's underneath it.
We've had gas leaks that have happened close to where a water leak is occurring, and even the pressure of the water itself can spark the gas to go off.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What are your takes on like water ITC and things? Do you believe in that, Coyote?
What is it?
Water experiments like water ITC, where they will ask spirit to form in water. Do you believe in that kind of thing?
I'll be open to it. I haven't actually tried it myself, but I'd be open to try it out.
We did an experiment in a river that had an haunting associated with the river. Mm-hmm. And we basically we'd made a flow of water and got some jingle in the water, so it had that, as you say, the flow, if you like, a flow. We then shown it like a UV light over it to see what would form in it. And we captured quite some interesting things through doing that. And, a skeptic's going to say it's nothing more than pareidolia, and that's fine.
But that's like a form of scrying, isn't it? It's very much like...
Yeah.
Like mirror scrying,
yeah. Nostradamus used to use water to see his vision, so...
Yeah. it might be something for you to try, and you might be interested in, Coyote, because it, like I say, every time we've had a go, it's always produced things that are interesting.
It's a bit hot and dry where Coyote is, though, isn't it?
Hey?
It's a bit warm and dry where he is.
Yeah.
Champagne just said we look at our evidence and always doubt what it is and try to find other reasons behind it. But I agree, I have had experiences happen to me that I know was real.
Everything that we get, I'm the biggest skeptic, and that's why you won't find a whole lot of evidence on our social media, because if I have even the smallest shred of doubt, I won't post it.
Yeah. What's your take on see, now something I bring up when I got Charlene on with me as well, because Charlene uses a fog machine a lot, and with the fog machine, what she does is she uses a laser in that, and then she asks people to take screenshots from what she's doing when she's live, that is. But we find that there's a lot of groups themselves, they do screenshots for and then they use like a strobing effect torch or something, and then they take screenshots. What's your thoughts on screenshots with circles on and things? What's your instant thoughts on that? I mean, I know pareidolia is the first thing everybody says, but
yeah, I mean, I try to keep an open mind when it comes to those things, but when you're seeing it and you're not letting me have the chance to see if I can find it, I kind of wonder. I mean, yeah. I say there's not something there. I'm just saying, give me the chance to find it.
You're in agreement then, really, with the fact that it's a case of don't stick a big circle around it. Let me see if I can see what you're seeing without you telling me. Yeah,
because I mean, you've seen those pictures where you'll look at it at one angle and it looks like a candlestick, but then you look at it another way and it looks like two faces looking at each other, you know.
Charlene sent me one earlier on, didn't you, to have a little look at, let me know what I thought of it. And where Charlene is in at the moment, the room she's in is like it's all timber all around it, so you've got all the knots and everything in the timber you can physically see. And my first thoughts was, could it be those knots in the wall, in the timber that you're seeing, you know? But from through on a pixelated picture, potentially through glass or something like that, you potentially could it be that's what people are seeing? And, you know, but our minds instantly tell us there's a figure of some sorts there, don't they?
That's why I like for everybody to take a chance to look at whatever we've been looking at, and I don't want to tell them what I see.
Yeah,
because if this is what I see, then that's what you're going to see.
That's it.
I did that on a live the other day. I joined Tim on a live, and I basically put a few pictures out that got him to post a few pictures up that. Oh, Tim's here. Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Tim will come back me up on this.
Yeah, go on. What you done?
You put some pictures of mine up, didn't you? And I didn't say what they were, and I let the audience decide.
Yeah.
What was on there first, and majority seeing the same. You came on as well, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I was on as well.
I knew what I thought was on there, but we also let the audience look and decide themselves, which I thought is quite a nice thing to do, because then, like you say, you know what you see, but if everyone is seeing the same thing, does that mean that there's something in it? Do you think that, Kyle?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was waiting for Tim to answer. Say that again.
Tim answered that the other day.
My bad. Yeah, I'm sorry.
If you're posting a picture of like something that could be possibly pareidolia, and the audience is seeing the same thing on that picture, would that interest you more, that they was all seeing the same thing?
Well, definitely. I mean, that would put something to it, but at the same time, a mass amount of people can see the same thing, but that doesn't mean that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's been times I've watched television, and okay, let me use this as an example. On Ghost Hunters last season, they had a film of what looked like a entity walking out of this room. And they showed it over and over and over again. And, you know, everybody in the room is thinking, oh my God, look, they've actually got a spirit walking out of this room. And when they finally looked into it a little deeper, they found that there was actually some lint that was hanging off the ceiling in front of this camera. And it made it look like something was walking in front of it.
Yeah.
But that's how easily we can be fooled. I mean, so yeah, it may look interesting, but is it 100%?
That's it.
I have to be there.
Before we talk to Tim, I just want to say a few hellos. Mary Whitcomb, the lovely Mary Whitcomb. It's Mary here. Mary's over in the States, and she's absolutely hilarious. If we trust me, if we brought Mary on screen, you wouldn't stop laughing. That's how hilarious. She's just amazing. She just brightens everybody's day. So I just wanted to say hello to her. She's in the chat. So Tim's got a group called Ghosted UK, and does very similar to what myself and Charlene do. Tim, did you have any questions or anything you wanted to ask Kyle?
I was just going to say, I mean, I think I post a lot of people don't like posting, ghost pictures, whatever. You used to get a lot of vile comments and and all, But I always say, it's your thoughts. What do you think? That's what I always do. But being a paranormal investigator, I think with pictures, I mean, I think it's this distinct detailing. Like, I've got a few pictures when you got like a pearl necklace and a certain hat they were wearing at the time, years ago, and it's all detail. I think they intrigue me more than just sort of a blurry sort of, because that could be anything, can't it? And that's the trouble. Something prominent. I mean, something, detailing is so important to me on ghost pictures. And obviously the source is important. Who took the photo? Are they crazy or are they genuine? I find that's important. It's so hard with ghost pictures. I mean, like Charlene's picture is a detail on it, and fine detail. And I think that's quite important on a ghost photo, because you can always sort of guarantee that ain't something that shouldn't be there. And again, if you do multiple pictures, you take 4 or 5 pictures, and on one of them something's different to the rest, and they're all took in the same shot. I think that's important. I think that's.
Do you think that too many people are too quick to jump on the bug, on the orb theory, especially when, rather than thinking about whether it's bugs or lint or just a cobweb or anything like that? I mean, I've seen that many CCTV videos and you can clearly see there's a spider on the lens. And you can if you look at it carefully, you can see the legs moving and everything, but people still say it's paranormal. They still think it's a spirit walking across the screen.
I have to question the people that go out every weekend or 2 or 3 times a week on these investigations, and they come back with tons and tons of evidence. Now, how many times have you gone out on investigations and you go for months before you get even the slightest thing? But yet they've got tons of evidence from every time they go out.
Sorry.
I know.
Sorry about the car going past there.
You're right.
That time of year, my computer is literally right behind my computer is a window. And that time of year, obviously, where you've got to have a window open, obviously. And typically cars will come past my house, don't they, when I'm live?
that happens on investigations as well, trust me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that's annoying.
That's it. So, going back to that, I mean, with regards to bugs and things, I mean, the latest craze I've noticed is people who are putting up videos with their Ring doorbells, from the Ring doorbell. I mean, I put a comment against one the other week, and I got full on slated for it by the person who put it up, because I was just being critical of the fact that, they didn't seem to realize, they didn't even realize themselves that their Ring doorbell has night vision.
Yeah,
I think.
Go on, Charlie.
The thing is that when they send these pictures to you and this footage to you, and they ask you opinion, they want your opinion to be that it's paranormal.
They want you to tell them what they think.
Yeah, they want you to confirm it for them, and then when you don't, they get really defensive about it.
Yeah.
Can y'all pardon me for just a moment? I'll be right back.
Of course, yeah, no worries, Carl.
What I do, because you know I get a few, and what I do is just say yes. I shouldn't be saying this because I'm going to be watching, but I'll just say yes. We'll look into it, and that's as far as it probably go. If we don't think it's nothing, then I say that was fantastic. Yeah, great. Carry on. Capturing what pictures.
I always say.
I think I'll be polite, but yeah.
I always say this is what it possibly could be logically. I say because that is the way that I think and work.
Yeah.
If you think it is something more, that's fine. But are you experiencing activity anywhere in the house? Have you experienced any activity there before? And then carry on the conversation like that.
Yeah.
Which it kind of then softens it up a little bit. So I've given the truthful opinion on possibly that is more logically going to be this, but it's up to them if you want to believe that, and then
some people
tackle it like that.
some people I think are they not being rude, but they do have problems, and you've got to be handled very carefully with people.
You do.
I mean, you don't want to offend anyone, and sometimes you get people that send me a black picture, completely nothing, absolutely nothing there, and said there's a monk standing there, and I'm going, where? So I've blown the picture, brightened it up.
If I got that, I'd be saying, are you physically seeing that there, or are you sensing that there?
Yeah.
Well, we had a thing on live last week because we had Michelle on Thursday last week. Michelle Roos, Charlene and I did, and we were having a discussion with her. And right behind Charlene is the door. You can see a window behind her, and just to the side of that is like a thin pane of glass that goes down. And all throughout the live stream, we were seeing something moving the other side of that glass, and we kept seeing it all the time. And of course, frustratingly, when you look back over the video, it's you just can't. It's not the same as it was. You don't see the same.
It's not, is it?
Not at all. You don't see the same movement at all, and it's frustrating because when we were saying to Charlie numerous times about it, and she was like, she even went outside with the camera with her phone and just showed us everything out there, and you could see that there's no way, because how high it was, it would have been above the fence line from the other side of from the end of a drive bit, and so it couldn't have, and because it was only moving in that one pane, it was strange. But when you go back over it and then relook at it again, you just can't see it. It doesn't look like much whatsoever.
No.
It's so frustrating, isn't it? Like
that, to say the least.
Yeah, I know, it's so strange. So,
you'll look at something, and then the first time you look at it, you're like, "Oh my God, that's so amazing!" And then you come back later on and you look at the same thing, and you're like, "Wait, this is not the way I remembered it."
I know. I've had that numerous times. I mean, I've seen. I always go back to when I first started out and first started my old team up. It's proper cute, that cat. Lovely colour.
Yeah.
She wants to get up here and
I remember starting out, and we got a place over in Gloucestershire where I'm from called the Ancient Ram Inn. I mean, most people have heard of that because of how old it is. I mean, it's it dates right back to I can't even think the years now.
Like, a long time.
Yeah, long.
11th century.
I think it's 10th century actually. I think it's 11th century. Yeah, 10 something it was. It dates right back to. It was an old coaching inn, and I mean the place itself. It could do with a hell of a revamp on it inside to be able to sort it all out, but you don't want to do it to it because you'll take away from it, if you know what I mean. But I was in what they called the witch's room, which is supposedly a young witch was used it as a room herself, and she obviously died up in there. And I'm absolutely certain because I was looking at the camera, had the IR on, it's dark, and I'm looking at the camera screen, and I see what looked like a black cat walk straight across the screen.
All right.
When I then look, I'm like, did anybody see a cat? No, nobody saw a cat at all. Nobody heard a cat. As far as we were aware, there was no cats in the building or around the area, around the building, I should say. And the owner certainly didn't have a cat. And then all of a sudden, I'm thinking to myself, right, I'm going to look back at this. So I look back at it. I found a point on it. You can physically see, you can hear myself, saying, did anybody see that? And I've looked at it before that, even going back a couple of minutes before, and there's no cat whatsoever on screen. And I saw physically on that screen, I saw a cat walk across it.
Did you capture it, like on film? Or?
That's what I'm saying, though. You see, I went back. It was filming at the time.
Oh, right. Sorry.
And you physically couldn't see that cat on screen whatsoever.
Oh, right. I do apologize.
I saw that cat walk across the screen with my own eyes, but nobody else. There's nothing there for anybody to see, you know. And it's just what on earth it was. I don't know. What on earth?
People don't understand the situations when you're doing investigations. You come across these strange, weird things happen, and I think Charlene and you get these weird things happen, and you're like, am I imagining weird things happen? And you think, what happened there, and your brain doesn't register what you just seen.
Yeah,
I don't think you had that down. Your brain don't register. And you think, and if you're lucky to get it on camera, that's fantastic. And a lot of the times you don't. There's nothing there. You see it. You thought you captured it when you look back on the film. There's nothing there. And you think,
Ivan's actually just popped up to say he actually had a cat sitting next to him on the bed when he was there. Was that a real cat or a spirit cat, Ivan? Because I believe I've got another picture of those ones I showed you the other day, guys, when we were on. Yeah. I've got another picture of what it was. I actually took a photo from outside with my DSLR, and I just took a random photo of the outside of the building. And I thought to myself on screen, I thought, what on earth is that in the window? And I blew it up on the screen so you could see the window. And yes, it's potentially pareidolia. Pixelation in the, I'm seeing my eyes, but what looks to me like a female's face in the one pane, but then in the bottom pane it looks to me like what looks like a cat.
Oh, we don't know.
And it's so strange, but the female face you specifically see. Do you know what I'm saying?
Here's a question. Do you think we don't capture him on camera that much? Because as I was saying earlier about the illumination, we may be experiencing something and seeing something with the naked eye, but the camera might not be picking it up because it's on it's using a different energy, or you've got to think it's not a solid. Some things that's happening, we may see it looks like a solid form, but would the camera pick up it's a solid form? I don't know. I'm just scratching it here.
Well,
is a possible explanation that why we might not be getting it so strong, or
sometimes they don't want you to capture it.
Kyle, I'm just gonna. You just sent me a photo. I'm just gonna send you the picture of this window that you can see it. I know it's very hard for anybody to see it, but if you that's from the outside of the building, so you can just see how with the whitewash on the brick and the old brick and that. But if you actually I'll forward that to Charlene as well, and also to Tim as well. And Tim, where are you? Type in Tim, and it brings up Trisha. It's clever, isn't it? But if you zoom in on that top pane in the bottom left right hand corner of it, I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Let's see if I can. Let's see if I can save that and bring it up on screen actually.
And I say that because it's like EVPs. Has anybody ever done an EVP and got an EVP on one player but not on the other?
Yes.
Yes.
Several times.
So how can, if it's a sound in the ear, it be on one but not on the other?
That's it, yeah. Do you ever find with EVPs?
Crazy phenomena.
Do you ever find with EVPs, you get some people they like to go down the routes of slowing the speed down on the audio. It's set on the settings on it. You know.
Yeah.
Did you ever get that? Right. I'm just going to see if I can share this tab very quickly on the screen.
I want y'all's opinions on that picture I sent you, Dan.
There you go. So people should be able to see that's the picture I took of the ram in. So I don't know if you can see that, everybody, but you can see in that top, if everybody sees what I see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Left pane in the bottom right hand corner of it. But then if you look in the pane below it, about halfway down that pane, you can kind of see something. And it's
face.
But that's a window. It's just outside of the witch's room. So that's as you come out of the witch's room itself, you've got straight ahead of you is a wall which has a mini mirror on it, which is Tim where that mini mirror was I showed you the other day.
Yeah, yeah.
Then if you look at to your left of that is the stairwell that goes up to the attic, and then straight ahead of you is a hallway, and which is to the left then is the stairs that go down to the main ground floor. But when you have a look at that picture there, you can definitely see there's something, and that was just a strange shot from outside. So it
looks sort of like it's partly like not just behind the window, it's actually part of the frame bit as well. If you look, the white bit, I can't see too clear on it, but it looks part of. It's like it's wedged in the pane bit, you know, the cross.
Just wondering, has anybody investigated it since John's passed away?
Yeah, they've lots of people in there. Most of it is events groups because
has the activity died down?
From a lot of people say it has died off in some ways.
Yeah.
I personally believe that John, bless his soul, and he was a lovely bloke. I believe his eccentricity and the things that he brought in, a lot of that was the cause of the activity in the place. But you know, it's when you see things like that, and I just thought to myself, you know, it's a bit of a strange one. That was just a random photo that was taken by me on the night from outside. You know,
it's definitely a face, and I noticed part of it is actually embedded in the frame.
Yeah,
which is quite good because you're not getting just in front of the frame or behind the frame. It's actually wedged in, which makes it more interesting to me.
That's it. So
it's quite a good one.
I mean, Kyle's just shared a picture. Kyle, I don't know if you want to explain that picture. I'll see if I can bring it up on screen quickly. Let me just. What I've got to do, Kyle, is I've got to share it to I've got to save it to my phone, save it to my Dropbox, and then and then open it from Dropbox. Then, bear with me a second. Let me just find it in Dropbox.
I've recorded, like I said to Charlene, I think I said to Dan, I recorded a voice on 4 voice recorders.
Yeah.
4 voice recorders. And
put it on all 4.
Yeah. And then recorded them all at the same time. Then done, you know, me asking, you know, is anyone here, blah, blah, blah. And then I actually got an EVP on all 4. So, and I've had it on cameras as well. I've had it on like 3 cameras at the same time as well, which was quite interesting.
Okay. This picture, we did not take this picture. Number one, you don't see snow like that in Texas unless you're way north. But somebody sent me this picture and asked me my opinion of it. And I'm on the fence about this one. I sent it to the guys from the Ghost Hunters, and they're not really sure about it. They kind of feel it's wishful thinking, but look to your left. And I don't know how big you can make the picture where you're.
Yeah, can you make it any bigger, Dan?
Which section do you mean? You mean that section in the top right hand corner?
Yes. Okay. Now, if you're looking to the left, you see. I guess to me it looks like there's a couple lights right there.
Those eyes.
Okay, so
right the left hand.
Let me see if I can zoom in a bit more for you. I think it's not going to zoom much more than that. Do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see it. Okay, now I'm going to send you this other picture. Okay. And this was I don't know why it has that on there, but ignore where it says MPS. I don't know why that came up. But anyway, this was kind of like however they do that exposure look on your phone, but I don't know what to think. I I'm not going to say it's necessarily paranormal, but kind of up in the air about it.
So I won't be set. My the current iPhone software decides sometimes it doesn't, as well the Facebook software Messenger. Oh, I can see what you mean by that now. Yeah, actually, that's very strange. Whatever that is there. So, bear with me a second.
Put it on, Dan. Put it on.
I am sorry. It's I had to close down Messenger and restart it, and that so bear with me. Right.
Making you work for it tonight, Dan.
I know.
Work for it tonight, buddy.
I don't often share the screen with on here, but right.
I just want everybody's opinion. These guys are waiting for me to give them an answer, and I don't have one to give them.
Right.
So
I've got to stop sharing that one and then share that one. That's it. There we go. Bear with me. Chrome tab. That one. Wrong one again. Sorry. Let me close that one down. Be ideal, wouldn't it?
it's like so. I like to see something like
That one.
All right.
So you can see that over there. Now, is that somebody has put all those dots in, or has that come up?
I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know.
Can you zoom in a bit, Dan, a bit more, please?
Yeah, zoom in a little bit.
My eyes ain't that good. Hang on. Give me glasses.
It won't actually let me zoom in any more than that.
Okay.
Why?
Okay.
You can forward it to them if you need to, but I don't know what to think of it.
Do you want me to tell you what I would do?
Oh, I've got my glasses.
Just tell them, leave me alone.
So you're looking at that. We're looking at that
Yeah.
in the left-hand side, aren't we? Now that to me, actually,
Yeah.
I'm seeing a leg. I'm seeing a leg like as if at the bottom of it, I'm seeing what looks like a leg in the front and a leg to the back.
So what created the one?
I would ask them how they got that picture, the second one.
This was I'll have to ask them about the second one, but the story that they told me was that they had heard stories out in this field, this cornfield, that supposedly something had happened out there. And so, being kids, they were out there and they were just taking pictures and looking all around and everything. And anyway, I don't know. Do you think it's faked? I'm not sure.
I don't know about the white
Can
dot.
I be honest?
Do you know
Yeah.
what? I've just increased the exposure on the main picture. And if you increase
That's what I was going to say, Dan, to do.
I've just done
Change the
that.
contrast on the original.
I've just increased the exposure itself, and you can actually see that on the. You actually do see that when you change the height and
The contrast.
the
But
contrast.
if you look at the
Then-
one with all the dots on it, it seems to me like the what looks like eyes are actually going straight through it.
That's it. But you
Yeah.
actually, when you increase the exposure on it, you actually do see that figure with all the dots. The dots haven't been added.
Oh,
Well,
right.
that's what
okay.
that's what I would have done first. Change the contrast, see if I could recreate that.
But
If
first,
that's still coming through like that, Dan,
yeah,
that is pretty impressive.
I would want to see the original photo as well, though. That's
Yeah.
that's the only other thing.
Good
I'd want to
though.
see the
The thing is
original.
what could they actually plant there, Dan, or put on a fake
I
that
don't
a
know,
contrast?
because if you look at the bottom of it, you see you can where the down towards the bottom, you can actually see what looks like two legs. It's as if somebody's stepping
Yeah.
towards you.
Yeah.
That's what you kind of see from that.
Even if you're using an app and putting that image in, if you change the contrast, it's still not going to be there, is it? It's got to be a physical person or physical change in the environment for the contrast to
I
change.
would want to see the original photo that was taken, that was unedited, uncropped, everything before making my mind up on that, and then increase the light on it from there.
Yeah, supposedly the first photo that I sent you was the original photo.
And like I say, even if it's not the original photo, Dan, and if it's been edited in some way, an app, it's not going to change the contrast in the background, is it?
No,
There's got to have been a physical person there.
that's it. You would have there was something stepping towards you, and it looks very small. That does, because when you consider the fact that where it is in comparison to those crops, that looks like it would have to be a child or something, because Gina Rutledge has just said it looks like it's walking. It definitely does look like it's walking, but it's to me that looks like it's a very strange one, and to have those dots exactly where they are as well.
That makes it look like a physical person.
Yeah.
The dots that get me so odd. I mean,
that is a good one. That is a good one. It is a good one.
Not easily explained without seeing the actual original.
No.
Yeah, and it's embedded in there. That's embedded in there as well. It's not sort of in front.
Yes, what I mean. It's embedded in the picture.
Yeah.
So it's
got to be physical in there.
Certainly a strange one there, Kyle.
I don't know what to tell these people. I haven't got an answer for them yet.
I would tell him to go back out there and try and recreate
That's the other thing, yeah.
Yeah. With the same camera, everything.
Obviously, the situation.
I would also get someone to stand in that position.
Yeah.
Why they're there if they can't recreate it, and just see if by standing there, a physical person, if it would have created the same thing.
I suppose there's one side to it, though. I suppose with like you said, Cody, with the in where you are with regards to the snow, to recreate it like it was, it's going to be very difficult. Because being crops, especially, those crops are going to change day by day, even after, especially with the snow. Then you've got the snow itself, and you can physically see there's some form of imprint in that from something. The
kids were out there walking around, so yeah, there's.
It was hopefully genuine. I mean, I'd be getting my tent out there and camping out for a month if you did.
Yeah, you notice the footprints on it. The footprints aren't for a big amount of time.
Yeah.
If you look at the footprints, there's a huge gap, and then there's footprints.
Yeah.
Just starts off.
Do you know what it reminds me of, though? What it reminds me of is somebody who's walking into. If you look at what people call an SLS camera, and it reminds me of if somebody's walking into that under night vision, because that's what you see is all those dots. So that's the only thing that worries me about that is whether that, because of the size of it, it kind of the structure of and the shape of the legs and that looks to me like the shape of the legs. If I was going to sit there, it looks to me like it's the shape of an adult.
Yeah,
not a child as such. Because if it for that height, you're talking those crops would have to be at least between 5 foot and 6 foot in height as a minimum to be able to have a human being to be that height. And they don't look that height, really, do they?
No, they don't.
Because you'd be talking about 6 to 8 inches worth of snow on the floor if that was the case. In comparison to it. So that's the one thing that makes me wonder a little bit,
It's interesting.
It is certainly is. It certainly is interesting. It certainly is interesting. Sorry, Tim. Without seeing the actual photo, I suppose that's on the actual camera itself.
Yeah, the first picture that I sent you is supposed to be the original.
That's what they're saying, it's the original, yeah.
And then they just did the exposure thing with their phone to show
contrast.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it. I don't know. I don't know all this technical stuff.
That's it, isn't it? So, sorry, Tim, go on.
I gotta say, with photography, it's like getting make sure the source is genuine, and they for to get views or some sort, and also get the original photo, and hopefully they've done 2 or 3 at the same area.
Yeah,
which adds to it, which is they don't. Not everyone does it. And the other thing I was going to say is, like you say, replicate what you've got. If they can replicate it and see if nothing comes up, and say that we took this, blah blah blah. But apart from that, it's quite interesting because, like say, if there's an app, they're normally slapped on top.
Yes. Yeah, it's normally an overlay, so it wouldn't have changed the contrast in it, would it?
No, they normally sit on top. So if that's wedged in there,
it'd be interesting. I mean, one of the things I would want to do with that, though, is I'd want to search personally, I'd want to sit there and search the internet and just see if I could find someone who looked like they were walking at that point in the same type, with all those dots all over, but I do think, judging by the shape of the legs and the movement, what looks like the movement of it, I would personally put it more in the adult category as shape, rather than rather than a child. And with the height of the crops and that, you'd be wanting to put it in the category of child size, or it would have to be further distance. Do you know what I mean? Or the question then is it actually a real person just in very dark clothing?
You know what my first impression of it was, and this was before I tried to disprove it at all, was some sort of a cryptid.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what. I didn't think it was a ghost. I thought maybe it was actually some kind of a creature or something.
Yeah. It's certainly when you get above what looks like the legs, the rest of it doesn't look like it has any specific features as such, does it?
Yeah,
Right.
apart from the eyes.
Yeah, that's it. So we pretty much run over what we were going to be doing tonight, guys. We're going to be running until about 9:30. It's now 20 to 10 here. So Tim, thanks very much for coming on and having a chill and having a look at some photos.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Is that Coyote? Is that the right?
Coyote, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
just
sir.
in case, because I'm terrible with names. Nice to meet you. I'm terrible.
Nice to meet you, Tim.
And
Tim,
thank you, Charlene. Sorry?
Thank you,
Tim,
Tim.
I was going to say you look like a young Pete Townsend.
Oh, cool. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. I've got no light in here because I've got problems with my camera packed up. So we're on lockdown, as you know. I'm trying to get another camera, as Dan, I was saying to Dan, it's like gold dust. And because the light effect on my GoPro is really rubbish.
Well,
so I'm not sitting
I'm sat here with a candle.
We're sitting in the dark and stuff, trying to get stuff nowadays with this lockdown, isn't it, Dan? It's like a mirror. I don't know if you know. It's
not been too bad, but it's but I'm quite lucky. I've got an Amazon unit not very far from where I am, so.
Can you get my webcam then? Because I should be there by now.
The local main warehouse for Amazon here is literally about 15 minutes down the road from me, so Amazon's not so bad.
Just hurry up and pop me there and get it for me, will you, Dan? I'll sort you out. I'm sitting in the dark.
No worries, mate. Thanks very much for coming on, buddy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Lovely. I enjoyed it very much. That's fantastic. Thank you.
See you later, Tim.
So, pretty much finishing up for the night. Gina Butler very quickly has said, could it be bleed? I won't put it on because it's quite a big explanation and it'll cover up everybody. Could it be a bleed through of an image of a previous video or photo taken previously on the same film or place in the memory of the device used? Not sure how to explain. So that's kind of like your double exposure, isn't it?
That's what I didn't know. That's why I was asking. Could this possibly be one of those kind of deals where somebody has faked it? I mean, I know how to do it on a computer.
Yeah,
but on my phone, I'm not sure.
It's different, isn't it? Yeah.
And
so
of course, they could have done it on the computer and sent it to their phone.
I would just say to him, it's an interesting picture, and my advice would be go back, try and recreate it.
Yeah. Even if the surroundings aren't going to be 100% like the snow and bits, try and find the spot you were in, try and recreate it to the best possible way you can. And stick somebody in that spot where it would be roughly, because at that point in time you can get a general depth perception then, can't you, of where they stood in that. So do you want to just want to give yourself a shout out for your podcast and your network?
What kind of shout? Well, on Facebook you can find me at Coyote Night, and that's Coyote spelled with a K. And also we have the Vibes Broadcast Network on Facebook. We also have Into the Pit, which is spelled with 2 T's and dots between the letters. And on Instagram, it's the Vibes Broadcast. We ran out of room typing out network, so all we got was Vibes Broadcast. Also, Into the Pit. If you look us up, it's a long explanation how to spell that out on Instagram. But our if you go on to YouTube, the Vibes Broadcast Network on YouTube, I also keep the links up on all of our social media. We have a link tree on Instagram if you find it, which will take you to all of that. And I run 2 shows. One of them is a paranormal show called Into the Pit, and then I also have a positive vibes type of show called Listen to the Vibes, and we have several other paranormal shows on there as well.
Awesome.
But yeah, I got that all out in one breath.
No worries. Well, it's been great to have you on, and it's good to have Charlene back on as well today. Just a quick recap on what's going on the rest of the week very quickly. Easiest thing for me to do is bring it up on screen because I can never remember what I'm doing. Tomorrow night I have George Shoplin on. Do you know George at all? You don't know George used to work. He's worked in with the Ghost Ventures team and that as well.
What's his last name again?
Shoplin.
If I see his face, I probably know who it is.
Yeah, sorry, bear with me 1 second, guys. Because I'm not sure what on earth that was. It's just been shared by this person. So, mods, if somebody can please get rid of whatever those. Yeah, if somebody can please get rid of whatever those comments put on there. Obviously, we don't want that sort of stuff on here. So if
was it naughty?
I think so. Yeah.
My fans are following me.
That's it. Obviously tomorrow night is let me go back. Tomorrow night is George Shoplin. Get back to where I was on here, and then I'll be able to tell you what we're doing. Wednesday night is Gemma Queen Bee coming back to do some card readings. Thursday night is Mike Cardenas, who's on with, and Charlene will be back for that as well. Friday, Drew is back doing some readings. Saturday, I'm hoping that Brandon Alves will be on. I've just got to confirm with him 100% whether he is or not. Sunday, Drew will be back again with some readings. And then we're back ParaSlam on Monday. Plus then Tuesday next week, we have Rochelle Stratton from the TV show Ghost Hunters coming on as well. So thanks very much, guys. It's been great having you on, Cody. And
thank you
on Charlene. And I shall see you in a couple of days' time. And we shall see everybody else soon. Please pop over to, if I'm not sure if John Sixth Sense is on tonight at 10, but please pop over and see him if he is. If not, I'm not sure where else you can go to because I'm not sure what else is on. So I'll see you guys all soon. Cheers, guys.
Nice to meet you, Kyle.
Nice to meet you.